Hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning from Indonesia. My name is Muhammad Yunus Anis. I come from Universitas 11 Maret at Surakarta in Central Java. Dear Professor Dr. Ali Almanna, I am very glad to have a change to presentations about Arabic and the relation with the indigenous language in Indonesia. It is a Javanese language. Okay, it is time I should like to present about the empowerment of Arabic Javanese translation toward globalization era. This presentation tried to provide the data about the empowerment of Arabic Javanese translation in the books of Islamic moral ethics facing the globalization era, and also I will talk and elaborate about a model of teaching and researching in Arabic translation, especially its relation with the indigenous or mother language in Indonesia. Historically, the connection line between Javanese and Arabic language has been discovered from the manuscript and subsequently in the books which appear in the 19th century. The common Javanese script is often used, but there are also a number of manuscripts in Arabic script. What is indigenous language? In Indonesia, we can say indigenous language maybe like a mother language, or maybe sometimes there is a similar with native language. The indigenous language I will talk here is the first language mastered by the certain people from the first life using the interaction among the fellow being in the social language, especially their close family. This is what I mean with the indigenous language in this case, and how to translate the Arabic language into indigenous language in Indonesia. Why we should care and why we should emphasize the Arabic translation. All of this effort is to keep the existence of native or mother language. First, because we need diversity. Based on translation study, we can study about the diversity, especially in language, in Arabic, in Javanese, in Bahasa Indonesia. And the second, because language express identity. By elaborating translation studies, we can also study about the identity from the language. And the third, because language are repositories of history. It is very important to study about Arabic language and its translation, because in the language there is a repository of history, and because language contributes to the sum of human knowledge, so we have to care the indigenous language, so we have to keep the indigenous language and also do a translation studies. And because language are interesting, this is the nice reason. Language is interesting, language is playing. So why we should keep indigenous language, especially also using a translation studies. First, because the diversity, because the identity, because it sums of history, there is a human knowledge, and also language is interesting. This is the example of Islamic moral ethic book in Indonesia. We can use this book as data of translation. We can discover using Arabic language Bidayatul Hidayah, written by Imam Al-Ghazali, Sharhul Hikam, the Aphorism of Al-Hikam, written by Syekh Ibn Atta'illah As-Skandari. Look at this manuscript carefully. This text is using Arabic font, using Arabic orthography, but it is very unique. It translated word for word using a Javanese language, but the Javanese language is written by Arabic language like this. Bismillahi utawi. This is the example. The example of the manuscript of Arabic and Javanese. This text had been translated into Javanese language. Qala al-Sheikh al-Imam al-Alim al-Alama, and it was translated using the Javanese language, using the Arabic font. Okay, this is also the example of Al-Hikam text. Word forward. If we talk about word forward is the model of translation used by the Javanese translator on translating the Islamic moral ethic books. Is word forward translation. And many translators had the same aims or purposes that translation strategies laid between two big poles. They are the literal and free. So this is our elaboration, our investigation to find the strategies that laid between two big poles, literal and free. This is the example from Arabic and Javanese translation. Fal fardu, mongko utawi perintah fardu. The meaning is the command of fardu. Ra'sul mal, iku asli bondo. Iku asli bondo is Javanese language, but it written by Arabic orthography. Iku asli bondo. Ra'sul mal, the meaning is genuine of property. Wahua utawi ra'sul mal, it is a fund. Aslun, iku pokok. Iku pokok is Javanese language, and it had translated into English language by the principle. This is a little example about Arabic and Javanese translation, Arabic and indigenous language in Indonesia. So, the empowerment of Arabic Javanese translation, if we use the SWOT analysis, there is a strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. The strength is because we keep a heritage language, especially using moral ethic. And the opportunities because in Arabic language and Javanese translation, there is a sum of research. And there is an Arabic Javanese glossary. But the weakness, the response of public, especially underestimate the indigenous language. This is the weakness. But the threats, we have to keep the mother language. So, the Arabic Javanese translation model should be strongly held on toward the modernity era to fortify and to strengthen the quality of moral ethics belong to young generation of Indonesian nation, and to face the modernity and to gain the empowerment of translation model. The Arabic Javanese translation should care with the 4 items such as strength, weakness, opportunity, and a threat. And this is the model of translation research. First, we can starting by the equivalency between Arabic and Javanese translation. And in the second step, we can do to elaborate about the loss and gain, maybe a loss and meaning and gain in meaning. This is the research from translation studies, especially using the data Arabic and Javanese. And also we can study about and elaborate about the shifting of form and meaning between Arabic and Javanese. After that, we can use the analysis of micro and macro analysis in translation. Micro translation or micro analysis, we can use the theory about technique translation, also strategy in translation, and also the procedure of translation. And for macro theory, we can elaborate the translation from the method using the V diagram from Newmark, and also the ideology of translation with late between two polars, they have foreignization and domestication. And the last, we can elaborate the translation study from the quality of translation, the accuracy of translation, the readability of translation, the acceptable of translation. Also, we can study from the quality of translation. The last, the orientation of translation studies, we can elaborate Arabic Javanese from product oriented, also process oriented, also maybe the participant oriented, and the last maybe the context oriented research. Thanks a lot for your attention. This is the reference that I use to elaborate about Arabic translation. Thanks a lot, Professor Almanna, for this change to allow to investigate about little description of Arabic and Javanese translation in Indonesia. And also I use the book from Mona Baker, In Other Words, a course book of translation, to study and to get some knowledge about translation theory. Thanks a lot. Greeting from Indonesia. From me, Muhammad Yunus Anis. We can meet in other times. And I say goodbye and always keep safe in this pandemic. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.